This video is for Monday, and these are your notes on inequalities. They won't take too long. You don't necessarily have to write everything down because you'll have access to this video all week long. Our new word for the week is going to be inequality. It's a pretty simple definition. It's just comparing two things that are not equal. And you can see that is in the actual word itself. The prefix in means not, and then you've got the word equal right there in there. So things that are not equal. Alright, so hopefully you've seen these things when you guys were kids. The first symbol we're going to be looking at is what's called a greater than symbol. So again, this one's called a greater than. Then there's the opposite, which is called the less than. Alright, then there's two more with an extra line underneath. This is one that's a mix of two symbols. The first part of the symbol is the greater than symbol, and then the second half is half of an equal sign. So we say greater than or equal to. And then the final one would be the opposite of that, which is the less than or equal to. And again, those include equal as a correct answer. Alright, so what we're going to be doing over the next few days is we're going to be graphing inequalities. And when we're graphing inequalities, it's pretty simple. We're going to be going through a couple of basic steps on how to do it. So again, we're going to be graphing inequalities. And again, you're welcome to copy these notes or to refer back to these at any time during the week. Alright, so when we go to graph an inequality, the first thing that we're going to be looking for is what's the problem look like. So here's an example of what these problems will look like. So let's just say we have x greater than 3. Alright, so what I'm looking for is all the numbers that are greater than 3, and there's a huge list of them. I could make a whole bunch. There's 4, there's 5, there's 6, there's 7, 8, 9, and on, and on, and on. So instead of making a giant list like that, what we can do is instead put this information onto a number line. So our first step is going to be to put a circle at the equal to number. Alright, so in this particular case, we would have a number line. The number lines will already be drawn for you. You don't have to draw these. We would have a number line listing positives and negatives. And what we'd be looking for is back in this equation, or this inequality here, the start, we'd be looking for the equal to number, which is the answer looking number there, which is 3. So we're going to put a circle there at 3. Right, but there's a little bit more to that. There's two different kinds of circles. First kind of circle is what we call a closed circle, and we use that when we have the or equal to's, which means that the equal to number is itself one of the correct answers. And then we have what's called an open circle, which is for just the plain old less thans and greater thans, and that's what we have in this case as an open circle, so I will not be coloring in this particular circle. All right. So our second and final step here, now that we've got our circle drawn, we're now going to color in all of the correct answers. Alright, so that's our next and final step, and it's simple. Which will we color in? If we have greater thans and greater than or equal to's, alright, we are going to color in the direction to the right. That's the greater than numbers. If we have less thans and less than or equal to's, we are going to then color to the left. The less than numbers are always to the left on a number line. So if we go back to our picture here, our final step then is to decide where the right answers are. Since I'm looking at this symbol up here, and it is a greater than symbol, greater than numbers are to the right. Now, it does get a little tricky if the problem is written backwards. Sometimes you'll get a problem that's written similar, where it almost looks the same, where you have a 3 and an X, but the X is in the back. And it looks like you would read this as 3 is less than x. But you always want to start reading with the x. Sometimes you're going to read backwards. So if I start reading with the x at the right, I'm going to read x greater than 3. Because remember, the open mouth end always faces the bigger number. So bigger numbers are to the right. So again, that is why I will draw an arrow to the right. You can go ahead and start trying the assignment now. There is a second video showing you some of those examples from the first few problems on the assignment. Thanks.